Hello and welcome to another gameplay review on the Virkayu gameplay channel. And in this one we have ZAC. And for once, it's not going to be a 45-minute behemoth game because I want to showcase to you why this champion's win rate is absolutely so disgusting. Runes on your screen now. One of the best junglers. He is against a Graves. Oh no, my Virkayu.gg thing is overlapped. Apologize for OCD people, that's going to bug me, but I need to fix that. Anyway, we have here, you saw the Aftershock runes on your screen. We're against a Graves, who is obviously always a smooth operator, and we have Fallen One, who was unfortunately the recipient of, someone else on the gameplay channel doing the fisting. This time I'm gonna show him showcasing why ZAC can be so damn good. Now, obviously we all know it's damage, we all know Jack's show was boosted and oomphed, but at the same time, that's not really the issue. The issue is ZAC for some reason received a damage buff a short while back. I mean, the champion already does too much damage. The champion has already too much CC, and he's not going to be he's not going to take over the game with his super fast clears. He just kind of does his own thing, and then ganks your lane from 25,000 different angles, and that's not hyperbole, it's probably literally true. And I love this particular gank move against immobile players, especially in the mid lane. If you are any sort of jungler, I want you to incorporate the red quadrant mid lane gank clear into your game. Obviously, we all know that the red Raptors Krugs bottom lane gank is a thing, and it could open you up to Graves vertical junglings. But in general, if you go red Krugs Raptors into the mid lane, regardless of what side you're on, it just gives you so much potential to snowball the game. And look here, if you got set up in the bot lane, again, flash and kill burned mid lane, flash burn and kill gotten in the bottom lane, and now we have the ability to fall back to the blue side, whereas the Graves started top lane going down thinking, guess I'll just go do some full clearing today. That should be fun, I'll enjoy that, and then I'll gank bot lane, and maybe if he shows, I'll invade, and I could take a crab. Like, that sounds like, it's not going to do anything. When a ZAC is doing a red quadrant clear, killing mid lane, killing bot lane. See, now he does show up, which is great. This is what Graves has to do to try and exert some pressure. This is the advantage he has, but he cut out his Krugs to do so. He's going to steal the blue from the ZAC, who's like, don't really care about that. And now everyone on the red team has prior to rotate to this because Tan's going to come back from base. The Maokai, for some reason, he's in a precarious situation. I'm sure this will happen in your games as well, where you'll just kind of go, okay, Graves is meant to do this. As long as I don't die and I take what I can get and I leave, that's fine. Like, I'll give you my blue, right? And that's the logic you kind of want to use. But at the same time, if your bot lane goes and dies here, one, they could overstay and try and still steal the blue, which case you might be able to get cleanup, or two, they leave. For the Graves, it sucks, because basically he's going to fall back now, take this Scuttle Crab, yeet to the top side and take that Scuttle Crab most likely, and ZAC doesn't care. You don't care about that. Let him do his things, and like what ZAC is always good at, bend, but don't break, all right? Bend, but don't break. Pull back, give it up, no worries, no stress. I want the demonics, I want the damage, I want the snowball, I want the sunfire. And ideally, if you do Jack's show, demonics Jack show, you're ready to win the game, right? That's the mentality I want. I don't want to see ZAC's thinking too much. Like, obviously we scale and we're monstrous later, but I don't want ZAC's to think about spam ganking to a level where you fall behind 20, 30 CS. I don't think ZAC's to think about, that's okay, I will gank, and then I'll scale. You want to use your potency after first rotation, after first full clear for those ganks. Like, you can still full clear, right? That's still, it's a viable thing to do in the meta, but we're seeing a lot of the three quadrant ganking techniques coming up because it forces the hand of the enemy jungler, and people are getting better at rotating, man. It's just a general thing. Like, there's no magic to it. It's just knowledge over time. Every season, people get better at rotating and paying attention to things just through it happening so many damn times. Now, we got back to base. We've got the blasting one. That's what we want. You can go bombies if you are looking at a bit more of a slow game. We have here the Maokai was in the middle of ganking mid lane. So we took our tier 2. We plan on taking this tier 2, probably cutting into this. I don't think we expected this crab to potentially still be available, so that is something we'll have to keep an eye on. But, normally that crab should have been secured at some point and should be taken down. We do see them rotate up here, and we look. Can we counter gank this? Can we get going? No? All right, leave back to farming. ZAC's hit isn't just for spam ganking, although it is obviously for that. Here we go. We hit the Q, or almost hit the Q. It's not only for spam ganking, it's for the threat of the gank that they might not expect, right? They're gonna go make a play. They know you're farming and sequencing, but because you E allows such a long range, is ZAC going to show up, you know? And now already we got 3 points in that range. That's to go super nice. I'm actually a little bit curious here about the pathing of the Graves, but you know what? We'll leave it alone. Here he is. Hello, sir. That top crab's still available, I guess. And we're denying that spike, but it's fine. He's moving. He's doing what Graves wants to do. But the ZAC, by getting the mid lane ahead so much, by getting the bot lane ahead a little bit, has created the ability for them to look out for the jungler, which does happen, right? Does happen. So if you don't want a quadrant gank, you can full clear gank, no stress, take a crab, reset. But as long as you're looking to gank again before you do the second clear, or be ready to rotate with your range, that's important, okay? So keep that in mind, should you not have the opportunity to do what he did here. But I like it. I like it a lot. Especially if it's at the top of your list of things that you want to accomplish. Scanning and sitting in the fog of war. See, this is important here. I want to pause because this is credit to Fallen for knowing. Well, he should know. Everyone knows in Challenger, but you know what I mean. Credit to players for actually using it, because you do see Grandmaster, you do see some Master Junglers still not understand this simple fog of war trick. Boost your brain. Like, look at this. You're right here behind this fog of war line. Here's a little frog. That's not ZAC, by the way. You might think it's ZAC. It's not ZAC. And you have the wave in the middle, right? So the extension of the vision goes out. And now you've got the ZAC, the frog, that was unintentional, lined up right here. And you know you can just sit in the river that you see in the river, just where the water is, right? And you can actually just eon over. And you know that the Nami had burned her flash when you ganked bottom lane. So you should be timing that sucker, knowing it's gonna be up right now. 3 seconds on that. Let's see what happens. Oh, it's gonna be up. Oh man, it's just that we mistimed it by like what, 1 or 2 seconds. If we had a bit more time, a bit more follow-up, a bit more readiness from our lane, unlucky. But again, perfect concept. Execution a little off, 1 or 2 seconds, but you burn the flash early, you time it, you do your second rotation sequencing down. Do it again. Use the fog of war advantage. Just because it's potentially not in the best place to kind of gank, then it doesn't mean you can't as ZAC, and that's the benefit here. Obviously, if it's warded here, that's why you kind of take that tight path, but the attempt is good. We enjoy. Good discipline by the Nami, knowing that she was not going to be in kill threat, so she holds. Now, I'm talking a lot. 0-0-1. I always talk a lot, but it's 0-0-1, but it doesn't feel 0-0-1, right? It's one of those games where you're like, okay, I'm ZAC, I'm ganking, I can take over, but Graves' threat of counter jungling, of map control, should I mess up, I need to make sure that the ganks I go for are properly executed, or at least properly intended, right? I'm not just spam ganking a lane 18 times, losing my whole top side, losing the Herald. We tried bot lane, made a good fog of war play, back to base, get our blasting wand, we get our Giant's belt, we run back to the Krugs here for the 3rd rotation. We want to go protect this. Now we're pinging this because we want to hold mid lane potentially, so we can snack this up here. And then just eon over and hold this as well, so this is fine. You could just run directly to the lane, and I think that's something that we struggle with as junglers. It's like, how quickly can you do the Raptors? And if you're ZAC and you can do it reasonably quickly with bombers, you can do it better. That upgrades the treat, you see. He's pinging that because he wanted to upgrade the treat as well. And the Rise in this Elo knows, okay, look, it's a ZAC. If you're a lane against one, do it. How do you go about it when the lanes just aren't always presenting themselves to you like an open book, and they understand what ZAC does? You have to think like this player is. Get out early before they set up a division and before they get comfortable in the lane. Try, do the next sequence, be ready to counter gank, try another gank at the end of your sequence in the direction that obviously should be bot lane. We lose the Herald because of this. There's nothing we can do about that. We carry on sequencing. And that's where ZAC becomes a threat, because the intent is not to scale to 40 minutes and become a monstrous tank team fighter, but we can. The goal is also just to make sure that we keep ourselves as fed as possible, and then eventually you will get 6, we will be able to eon over the wall, we will be able to flash Q knock up, we can then go bouncy, 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 bouncy. Remember, bringing people together. I paused it because I was going to say something, and then I saw things were going to happen. You could tell the game was primed to be exploded. We're going to E in over here because the Nami did burn her flash. We do get stunned. The ZAC is interrupted by the Graves. We're going to keep picking up our blobbies, keep healing. Remember, blobby, blobby, blobby. You do have your passive available as well. And Graves is going to be forced to ult and look for the... That's a little bit unlucky that the red tick didn't get on the kill, but nicely done. Now the Rise is moving down, so what do? With ZAC, we have passive, we can shadow, we can E in over the wall here. Brrr, boing. Nice damage with our blasting. 1 for the solo kill. Fine. we take it. So again, 1-0-2, 10 minutes, not exactly like a hyper, look, Zach's a hyper ganker. I mean, he is and he isn't, right? Because you can just sequence so effortlessly and rotate so effortlessly because of that E range. So as long as you understand fog of war gaps and vision control, and look, sometimes enemy jungler will, if you're going opposite, you know, like say Graves started bot side, he will take your stuff, second rotation. You just take his, you gank bot lane again, like it's fine. There's always opportunities for Zach to be in the game. And sure, you're not going to go and fight the enemy jungler 1v1, but we're not really looking to do that. Hello? Although you could with this build, couldn't you? Although it is pleasing to see Nami just get destroyed. Nice ISO Q. Beautiful. We're just warded there. We don't have a scanner. We don't have anything. So, and we know it's warded there, so we can just leave that. We don't want to clear it so that they know what we're doing. Obviously, we're going back to base, but you don't want to delay the reset onto your Krugs and Raptors. The quadrant clearing is the important thing, right? Boom, 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 boom. We're making sure that that is under control, and then we can always rotate as necessary. It's quite straightforward, really. It's quite relaxing. If you want some free LP, to be honest with you. Using the E to get to the Krugs here, as we should. We can move down to the Raptors, as we should. The Talon's going to show up here going over the Drake Pit, as we should. If we had a bit more HP in some of those bot trades, we could have looked to do the Dragon, which is what we want to do. But this is where Graves is very good in the meta, as the champion is good, but not the meta necessarily being good for Graves. Does that make sense? Like, he is fine and serviceable and can do his job. The Ryze has stayed mid lane, CS'd himself up, hit some plates. We don't even have one plate here. You know, the Ryze should have a cash money lead a little bit. Not quite. He has the experience at 2 levels, but he's down 500 because the Talon, excuse me, had 3 kills. Should have paid attention to that. Now the Graves has to go bottom lane to use a Herald, but we're not going to bust this down because, of course, new reality. Everyone sees this. He pushed the Ryze out of the lane, pushed the Ryze out, knowing that the Graves is going to have to use it. Everyone rotates to the bottom lane. This is a 4v3 fight. Ryze can do absolutely nothing about it other than TP to it, but it's not time for that unleashed TP, so you'd have to go to a tower, and of course he doesn't even have it anyway. The Mordekaiser does decide to TP to help out in that response, but we're Zach. We heal. We have our passive. Flubbies! You see? You are the person who can carry a game. Did you see that? Did you see? He E'd and smited him mid-air, which is the thing I say always, that they can E across Dragon Pits and Baron Pits to get the smite for the steal. You can also E and smite so that you don't tank the tower aggro, and then you get the burn damage. That's very good. Very good. Very nice. I enjoy that. And we don't have passive now. Don't do that. In that case, I would go to my Grump, to my Wolves, and then reset and finish my itemization, and off I go down top lane, or you can swap and go back down to the bottom lane and then do the Dragon. Would like to see us snack a Dragon at some point. Talon in the meantime realizes that the Ryze has gone to the bot lane. Finally, you will get some plates, at least pre-14, that's always good. The Lucian is going to get a whole bunch more plates over here. We only have 2 here. Akali is just fisting top. I looked at top lane early. This is just, you know, Love Island. You just go at it 1v1, have an argument all the time. Sometimes one person wins the argument heavily. Sometimes you both go back and forth. You know, it is what it is. Nothing you do about that. Bot lane, Dragons, Heralds. Heralds are still great for cash and fusion, but they're definitely better on your Graves and your snowballing champions who will use that gold in a very real way. Nice flash there by the Lucian, but at the same time, is he going to get anything? No, he is not. The Nami is now going to chase down and say, I can kill you because I'm Nami. The bubble misses an ISO Q, snipes the fish, and then we go back and eat to the Grump. So again, sequence down, gang. Sequence down, gang. Sequence down, gang. First rotation, red side mid to help the mid rotate with me to the bottom lane gangs. We've entered another bot lane spam gank meta. Great. I played bot lane too. It's not going to be fun. But at least I can track these things. I'm a jungler too, so I can track them, I can ward them, and I play Zyra. So if you tower dive me, you die. Actually, I like this meta. Come on, everyone. Gank my bot lane. When I'm the bot lane. Ryze again out of position here because he existed. You know, he's not out of position because he did anything wrong. He's out of position because it's Zach. And that's what you want to bring as an immobile Fista, right? You kill anything that's immobile. You saw the Lucian has E, he has his flash. When a champion like Ryze doesn't have their flash, they can do nothing about it. You land, they're dead. You land, they're dead. And so as long as you continue your own econ, 6 to 7 CSPM, gank those bottom lanes beautifully, and at least get your mid ahead through counter ganks and active ganks, you'll have no issue kind of getting yourself ahead. With 219 at this point, we have the demonics finished. This is all we really need. And the whole time we're talking about this, you're like, but wait a second, he's a tank. I'm like, is he? Is he? I mean, with demonics, I mean, it's insane. What are we at? Can I click on it, please? We're at 2,000 HP, 1960 basically. We've done 1,000 damage extra from the demonics embrace. We'll go into the resistances now. You can choose your Merc Treads or your Plated Steel Cap. Second Herald is up. We could look to take that, but obviously Graves is now being a little bit of an annoyance. He is not up as much as he should be because of the ZAC's Quadro control. It's warded, so we just pull the trigger. Any flashes available? If not, let's go. Nice Q into the flash, slap together, but no one's really there to follow up. So again, a little bit overzealous, but at the same time, E is up pretty quickly. Maokai goes in and says, can I chaps a suck? And he does. And that's a nice little assist for the ZAC. Good. So, if you don't follow up, don't overestimate your damage, but at the same time, you will have E up again pretty shortly. What are we looking at? 5 now. 11 point... Quickly. It feels quicker than it is in-game. I don't know. I'm used to playing tanks with high cooldowns. So for me, it's like 11 seconds. I can do stuff for 11 seconds. No stress. You know, I'll be busy. I'm engaging with it already. That's 2 seconds off the cooldown just as I land and start doing stuff. You know, it's fine. I'll chase and then I'll hit it. Because it's so long range, you know, it's not like it's an 11-second cooldown on like a champion that can never catch up. It's 11 seconds on the cooldown that lets you catch up the time you lose waiting for it to come up again. As long as you hit it. Right. I'm full of nonsense sometimes, aren't I? I just confuse things and forget things. You know, it's age. I'm getting old. Hopefully a long way still to go, but at least in league terms, I sometimes remember random numbers from patches that are long gone. And I did play a lot of ZAC too. ZAC was the first champion I used to get diamond when I first started playing the game. I was like, ooh, I got diamond, you know? And I did it with ZAC. ZAC Jungle and Malphite support, actually. I always liked the off-meta. ZAC wasn't really off-meta, but, you know, the Malphite support was, I can tell you that much. There we go. We push mid, we take the Herald, we rotate. We definitely want to get those objectives. And again, the Graves hasn't been able to get into the jungle because we controlled our camps. And that's, I think, the most important thing. If you're against a counter jungler, just control your damn jungle, right? Now we've got an AFK talent. Just control your jungle and you'll be absolutely fine to take control of these games. Really, you will. That's finally, at 18 minutes, we finished our jungle pet. We are now Moss Stomper activated. The talent reconnects, fortunately, although I was kind of looking forward to a 4v5 closeout just to show some of the solo queue-ness that we can do. We're up 2 levels. And our passive is available, as evidenced by the shield that scales when I scroll, but you see the wings? Little wings above the 12, there you go. So we know the passive is available. We do the same thing for the Anivias as well of the world. And let's have a look. We want to try and close this out nicely. This is largely where people will throw games. If we don't really need atomization, and we have a bit more time, we could go Krugs into the Raptors to mid lane, but because everyone's looking to push up, you see this? Look where the waves are. We're looking to push up nicely, get deep. We don't do the Krugs, we do the Raptors just to join. And as a tank, as a ZAC, I think that's important as well. Should you be a bit more of a farmy champion? You could think about it, but at the same time, I think it's important that we're here. Kai'Sa does overcommit, not waiting for the ZAC, but the ZAC is going to say, well, you know, I don't really care about that. Can I keep going? Can we get the kills? I have my passivo. Akali rotates. The Maokai exists. The talent's like, I'm a split. The ZAC goes back in again. Reposition E back in. Have your passive bait out spells. Team cleans up. And we will revive like a phoenix of blubber. And I was going to say something rude, more rude because of how they did its sound effects. They did it with a Durex and filled it with stuff and stuff against a wall. So there's a lot of ways I could have gone with that, especially as he was rising. Right. Talent split push. Kai'Sa goes too deep. So we lost our ADC. We didn't have a mid laner. We just had a top laner rotate into Maokai and a ZAC. And we killed 4 of them. Or all of them. You know, so is he a tank? Yes, my friends. Yes, he is. But at the same time, he does a hell of a lot of damage. So as long as you're picking up your blobbies in those fights and ceasing prior targets and actually getting into the meat of the fight, forcing them to blow their spells on you so that you trigger your passive, you're gonna have a lot of fun. The game, 31-8 as Kai'Sa just goes in. They say they've had enough. I think in this particular game, we've covered a lot of long game We have covered a lot of long games recently. There we go. That was a tongue twister. And snowballing this is pretty straightforward. Watch one of those other champions to learn about them and also how to close games out. I don't want to repeat a simple stomp process, but hopefully you can see that the early red quadrant into action, falling back to your blue side as a safety net is great. Obviously, against invading junglers, it can become annoying if they invade you afterwards, but as long as you don't fight and die unnecessarily, like worst case scenario, flex to the other scuttle, he takes our blue side, we take his tier 2 grump, right? Or gank top lane. So there's a lot of things we can do, and then we can fall back to our tier 2 Krogs Raptors before we reset, okay? And then we can go straight bot lane again. So there's a lot of ways you can navigate someone invading you and just avoiding them, which of course you have to do when you play tanks and things that just don't do well against 1v1 savants. But hopefully there you have it. Pretty good game. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to check out Virkayu.gg for your coaching and coaching VODs. Live companions .gg guys, the link below. Don't forget the bootcamp coming up in 2.5 weeks. Everything you will ever need to know. As always, I will see you all in the next tutorial. And to start off for Season 13, I will be hosting another bootcamp with Coach Kybert for laners and junglers and for every single role. Topics on your screen now starts end of January 30th. Basically, we're going to be covering everything in this video in depth related to you, giving you some active examples, some drills, everything to make you a better League of Legends player as a whole, all through a really in-depth 2-week bootcamp from January 30th onward. And additionally, I will be raffling off a $400 coaching package to a lucky winner who subscribes in the first 100 tickets, which means a further 4 hours of coaching directly with me, all free for you after the bootcamp is finished. And overall, the bootcamp is just chocked full of absolute free coaching, free VOD reviews, Q&As. We have 10 different sessions for you from myself and Coach Kybert. We have other challenger coaches on call. Essentially, you're looking at something like 30 coaching sessions for the price of one, all within a community hosted by Gosu Academy. So click the link in the description below, sign up, join the Discord, and I will see you all there to learn everything you need to know about Season 13 jungling and laning so that you can climb to your ranked goals and beyond.